Don't fall in love with me just because I'm the only one who stayed. Noah said it like a joke. That was the problem with Noah. He could say something that cracked my chest open, then smile like he hadn't just ruined my whole night. I remember looking at him across my kitchen table, both of us surrounded by cold takeout containers, my phone face down between us because I was tired of seeing messages I didn't want to answer. It had been 3 months since Daniel left. 3 months since I learned that loving someone didn't always mean they knew how to be careful with you. I didn't make a big dramatic speech about it. I didn't post some sad quote online. I just deleted the apps, stopped going out on Fridays, and told everyone I was busy. Busy meant sitting in my apartment in Chicago with the lights off, pretending I liked the quiet. Noah never called me out on it. Not directly. He just started showing up. First with coffee, then with groceries, then with some awful frozen pizza he swore was emotionally supportive. He had a key because I gave it to him back in college, when we were both broke and always losing things. I never thought about taking it back. Maybe I should have. Maybe that would have made everything easier. That night, he came over after work wearing a navy hoodie, hair messy from the wind, cheeks still red from the cold. He set 2 coffees on my counter and looked around like he was checking if I'd disappeared from my own life again. You ate today? I rolled my eyes. Hello to you too. That wasn't an answer. You're annoying. And yet I'm holding your dinner. He lifted the takeout bag like evidence. I should have laughed more than I did. I tried. It came out tired. Noah noticed. Of course he did. He always noticed the things I wanted people to miss. We ate in the kitchen because my couch still had a pile of laundry on it I'd been ignoring for a week. He told me about a guy at his office who microwave-burned fish and nearly caused a workplace evacuation. I told him about a client who wanted a logo that felt more Tuesday. Normal stuff. Safe stuff. Then my phone buzzed. Daniel's name flashed on the screen. My stomach dropped so fast I almost hated myself for still reacting. Noah's eyes flicked down. He didn't touch the phone. Didn't ask. Just watched my face for half a second too long. I flipped it over. It's nothing. Noah leaned back in his chair. Yeah, you always look like you've been punched when it's nothing. That got under my skin. Can we not? His expression softened, but he didn't apologize. Sure. Silence stretched between us. The bad kind. The kind that made every little sound louder. The fridge humming. Rain tapping against the window. My own heartbeat being stupid in my ears. Then Noah reached across the table and nudged my coffee closer to me. Small thing. Nothing thing. Except his fingers brushed mine when he pulled back, and neither of us moved right away. My chest tightened. I told myself it was because I was tired. Because I was lonely. Because Noah was my best friend, and I trusted him more than anyone. Not because his hand was warm. Not because he looked at me like I was something worth being careful with. Ethan, he said quietly. I hated how gentle my name sounded in his mouth. You don't have to answer him. I swallowed. I know. Do you? I looked away first. Coward. Noah sighed, but not in a frustrated way. More like he wanted to say 10 things and chose the safest one. I'm not trying to fix you. I let out a weak laugh. You're more like a broken vending machine. People keep kicking you and hoping something normal comes out. I stared at him. Then I laughed for real, just once, sharp and surprised. Noah smiled. And God, I hated that it helped. I hated that him sitting there made the apartment feel less like a place I was hiding in. Before he left, he grabbed the blanket off the couch and tossed it over my shoulders like I was some dramatic old man. Sleep, he told me. And don't text him. Bossy. Alive and bossy. You're welcome. At the door, he paused. His hand rested on the knob, but he didn't turn it. For a second, he just looked at me. Like he wanted to stay. Like he was waiting for me to ask. I didn't. I had sworn I wouldn't need anyone like that again. So I forced a smile and said, Drive safe. Noah nodded slowly. Locked the door behind me. Then he left. And the second the apartment went quiet, I realized something that scared me more than Daniel's name on my phone. I didn't miss being loved. Not exactly. I missed feeling safe. And somehow, Noah had become the person my body trusted before my brain agreed. By the next Sunday, Noah had somehow turned checking on me into a routine without ever admitting that was what he was doing. He showed up around 11 with 2 iced coffees, a paper bag from the bakery down the street, and a look on his face like he had every right to let himself into my apartment. Which, technically, he did. Good morning, emotionally unavailable citizen. I was on the couch in sweatpants, pretending I had not been staring at the same email for 20 minutes. Do you ever knock? Noah kicked the door shut with his heel. Do you ever answer texts before they become missing person evidence? That feels dramatic. You left me on read for 19 hours. I was busy. His eyes dropped to my laptop. The screen had gone dark. Doing what? Watching your reflection suffer. I grabbed a throw pillow and threw it at him. He caught it with one hand, looking way too pleased with himself. That was the thing about Noah. He knew exactly how far to push before I started breathing again. Not feeling better, exactly. Just breathing. He put the coffee in front of me, then opened the bakery bag. Blueberry muffin. My favorite. I stared at it longer than I should have. You remembered? Noah looked almost offended. Ethan, you have ordered the same muffin since junior year of college. That does not mean you had to memorize it. I memorize useful information. My muffin order is useful? He sat on the other end of the couch, close enough that his knee almost touched mine. You are less unbearable when fed. I rolled my eyes, but something warm moved under my ribs anyway. Small. Annoying. Dangerous. We spent the next hour doing nothing important. He complained about work. I complained about a client who wanted a font that looked less confident. Noah laughed so hard he nearly spilled coffee on my rug. The sound filled the apartment in a way I had missed without admitting I missed it. At some point, he stretched his legs out and stole half the blanket from my lap. You have your own blanket. Yours is better. It is literally the same blanket. This one has emotional history. I gave him a look. It was on sale at Target. Exactly. Humble beginnings. I tried not to smile. Failed. Noah saw it, and his expression changed for half a second. Softer. Quieter. Like he had been waiting for that one stupid smile all morning. My chest tightened before I could stop it. I looked down at my coffee. Safe. Normal. Best friend. That was all. Then his foot bumped mine under the blanket. Accident, probably. Except he did not move it away. Neither did I. The television was on, some home renovation show neither of us cared about. A couple on screen argued over kitchen tile, like it was life or death. Noah leaned back, shoulder brushing mine now, because apparently personal space had been canceled. You know, he murmured, you would be terrible at dating right now. I snorted. Thanks. No, seriously. You would scare people. That is comforting. You would sit across from some nice guy and mentally plan your escape route before appetizers. I hated that he was right. Maybe I like escape routes. Noah turned his head. I felt him looking before I actually looked back. His face was too close for a joke. Not close in a dramatic way. Just close enough that I noticed the tiny crease between his brows. Do you? The question landed wrong. Or maybe too right. My throat went dry. Do I what? Like always having one foot out the door. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Noah did not smile this time. He just watched me like he could see every excuse forming and falling apart. I wanted to say something sarcastic. Something easy. Instead, I looked at his hand resting on the blanket, inches from mine. His fingers shifted once, almost like he thought about reaching over, then decided not to. That restraint hit me harder than if he had touched me. Too loud. He let the silence sit for a few seconds, then nudged my shoulder with his. Relax. I am not submitting an application. I laughed because I was supposed to. Because he was joking. Because Noah always gave me an exit before things got too real. But when I glanced over, he was still looking at me. And for 1 second, the joke did not feel like a joke at all. Later, after he left, I found the second muffin still in the bag with a note written on the receipt. Eat dinner too, Miller. I stood in my kitchen holding that stupid piece of paper like it meant something. It did not. It was Noah. He was thoughtful with everyone. That was what I told myself. But my thumb kept brushing over his handwriting, and for the first time in months, the quiet in my apartment did not feel empty. It felt like I was waiting for him to come back. The rooftop bar was not my idea. I want that on record. If I had been in charge of my own healing like a responsible adult, I would have stayed home, ordered Thai food, and watched strangers argue about drywall on television until I fell asleep. But Marissa from our college group turned 30, and apparently that meant everyone had to gather 12 floors above downtown Chicago and pretend we were better at socializing than we were. I almost canceled 3 times. Noah knew because he texted me after the third almost cancel. Wear the black jacket. You look less haunted in it. I stared at the message for way too long. Then I typed, stop monitoring my wardrobe. His reply came fast. Stop dressing like a divorced ghost. I laughed alone in my bedroom, which annoyed me because it meant he won. By the time I got there, the bar was already loud. Music, people talking over each other, glasses clinking. The kind of place where everyone looked like they had somewhere better to be but stayed anyway. I was standing near the elevator, seriously considering turning around, when Noah appeared beside me like he had been waiting. Black shirt, dark jeans, hair pushed back but already falling into his eyes. He looked good in that casual, unfair way that made normal breathing feel like a group project I was failing. You came. He looked me over, and his mouth tilted. And you wore the jacket. Do not look so proud of yourself. Too late. Before I could think of something smart to say, a guy I barely knew from college stepped into our path. Brandon. Loud smile. Too much cologne. The kind of person who called everyone buddy even when he forgot their name. Ethan, man. Long time. He pulled me into that awkward half-hug straight guys do when they are not sure how much warmth is legally allowed. Then his eyes moved to Noah. And Noah. Still attached at the hip, huh? Noah lifted his drink slightly. Medically, yes. Brandon laughed way too hard. Seriously, though, Ethan, are you seeing anyone yet? Marissa was just saying you need to get back out there. My stomach tightened. There it was. The thing I came here to avoid. I am good. Come on. I know a guy? Well, I know several guys. One of them is emotionally stable. Probably. I forced a smile. Pass. Brandon leaned closer, like this was helpful. You cannot hide forever. Something in me went cold. I could feel Noah shift beside me. Not dramatic. Just enough. His hand landed lightly on the small of my back, warm through the jacket. He is here with me tonight. Brandon blinked. So did I. Noah's voice stayed easy. Almost lazy. Let him breathe. For a second, nobody said anything. The noise around us kept going. But right there, everything narrowed to Noah's hand on my back and the fact that he had not moved it. Brandon raised both hands. Okay. My bad. Did not know I was interrupting a date. He laughed like it was a joke. Noah smiled. Good. Now you do. My brain just stopped. Completely. Brandon walked away still laughing, and I turned to Noah so fast I nearly spilled his drink. What was that? He took a slow sip, eyes not quite meeting mine. Rescue mission. You told him this was a date. I implied it. Noah. Fine. I strongly implied it. I should have been annoyed. I was annoyed. Maybe. But his hand was still on my back, and I had not told him to move it. Worse, I did not want him to. You cannot just fake date me without approval. That finally made him look at me. His smile showed up first, but it did not reach all the way. Pretty sure you would have denied the application. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Because he was right. Because if he had asked, I would have laughed it off. I would have said something sharp and safe. I would have made sure neither of us had to stand inside the moment too long. Noah's thumb moved once against my jacket. Barely anything. My chest tightened anyway. Relax, he murmured. I was helping. You always do that. His eyes stayed on mine. Do what? Show up. Say the right thing. Make it impossible for me to know what I am supposed to feel. The words came out before I could stop them. Too honest. Too exposed. Noah went still. The tiny smile disappeared, and for one awful second, I thought I had ruined everything. Then he leaned in just enough that I could hear him under the music. Maybe you are not supposed to know yet. My throat went dry. Someone behind us shouted for Marissa to make a birthday speech. People started moving toward the other side of the rooftop. Noah stepped back first. His hand left my back, and the missing warmth hit harder than the touch had. Come on, fake date. He nodded toward the group, like the joke was back in place. Like he had not just made my heart forget what normal felt like. I followed him because I did not know what else to do. And when his fingers brushed mine in the crowd, just once, I told myself it was an accident. Then he looked down at our hands, looked back at me, and did not say a word. That was the first time I realized I might not be the only one pretending. After the rooftop bar, Noah and I became very good at not talking about it. Expert level, honestly. Olympic gold. He still came over that Thursday with coffee and an extra phone charger, because mine had been dying for 2 weeks. I still let him in. We still acted normal. Mostly. The problem was normal had started feeling like a shirt that did not fit anymore. Too tight in weird places. Too obvious if I moved wrong. Your place is freezing, Noah muttered, stepping inside and rubbing his hands together. My heat is fine. He looked at me, then at the thermostat. Ethan, it is 63 degrees in here. That is not freezing. That is how villains live. I tried to take the coffee from him, but he held it out of reach. Turn up the heat first. Are you bribing me with my own drink? I bought it. So technically I am parenting you. You are 28. And yet, Somehow, the adult. I gave in because I wanted the coffee more than I wanted dignity. The heater clicked on with an ugly rattle, and Noah made a face like the apartment had personally offended him. Then he moved to the couch, dropped his coat over the arm, and pulled off his hoodie. Here. He tossed it at me. I caught it against my chest. Warm. Soft. Still holding the shape of him. No, you are literally shivering. I am not. My teeth almost clicked right after I said it. Noah stared. I sighed and put it on. It swallowed my shoulders a little. Smelled like cedar, laundry soap, and him. Dangerous combination. Noah looked away first, which was new. Better. I pulled the sleeves over my hands. Maybe. Wow. Gratitude. Mark the calendar. We ordered pizza and put on some terrible dating show because apparently watching strangers ruin their lives on camera made me feel better about mine. Noah sat closer than usual. Or maybe I was just noticing more. His knee brushed mine once. Then again. Neither time felt accidental. Halfway through the episode, my phone buzzed on the coffee table. I glanced down. Daniel. Again. My whole body locked before I could hide it. Noah saw. Of course he did. The room went quiet except for the television, where some guy in Miami was explaining why cheating was actually a communication issue. Perfect timing. Noah reached for the remote and muted it. Do you want me to block him for you? I let out a short laugh. That is illegal. Pretty sure it is not. It is dramatic. I can be dramatic. I stared at the phone until the screen went black. I can handle it. Noah's jaw tightened. Not anger. Something else. You keep saying that. Because it is true. Is it? I looked at him then. Big mistake. He was already looking at me. Eyes steady, face softer than his voice. Too close. Too careful. You do not have to prove you are fine every time he reaches for you, Noah murmured. My chest pulled tight. He is not reaching for me. Then why does your face change every time his name shows up? I wanted to snap back. I wanted to make a joke. I wanted to do anything except sit there in his hoodie with my heart beating too hard and his knee warm against mine. Why do you care so much? The words came out sharper than I meant. Noah went still. His eyes dropped to my mouth for half a second. Maybe I imagined it. I hoped I imagined it. Then he looked back up. You know why. Everything stopped. Not the room. Not the city outside. Me. I stopped. My fingers curled into the sleeves of his hoodie. No, I do not. Noah breathed out through his nose. Almost a laugh, but there was no humor in it. Ethan. Just my name. That was all. But it sounded like a warning. Or a confession he had not decided to survive yet. I should have looked away. I did not. The couch suddenly felt too small. His shoulder was inches from mine. His hand rested between us, palm down on the cushion, close enough that my knuckles brushed his when I shifted. Neither of us moved. Noah's gaze flicked down again. This time, I knew I did not imagine it. My throat went dry. Noah. He leaned in a little. Not enough to touch. Just enough to make the air between us feel charged and stupid and impossible. For 1 second, I thought he was going to say it. Whatever it was. Whatever had been living under every joke, every coffee, every fake date smile. Then my phone buzzed again. Loud against the table. We both flinched like we had been caught. Noah pulled back first. Fast. Too fast. He grabbed the remote and turned the volume back on, staring at the television like it had suddenly become fascinating. My phone kept glowing with Daniel's name. I did not pick it up. I could barely breathe. Noah stood a minute later, rubbing the back of his neck. I should head out before the roads get bad. It was not raining. I did not say that. At the door, he paused with his hand on the knob, just like he had before. But this time, when he looked at me in his hoodie, something passed across his face that made my stomach twist. Keep it, he said quietly. You look warmer. Then he left, and I stood there in the middle of my apartment, wearing the proof that he had almost stayed. By Friday night, I had convinced myself the almost moment on my couch was nothing. Stress, bad lighting, emotional confusion, a near miss caused by Daniel's name and Noah's annoying ability to look at me like I mattered. That was the explanation. It was a bad one, but I held on to it anyway because the alternative made my chest hurt. Then Marissa invited everyone to trivia night, and my little explanation died in a crowded bar over a basket of waffle fries. I almost stayed home. Noah texted me at 6. You coming? Or should I tell them you are busy haunting your apartment? I stared at the message from my bed, still wearing his hoodie because I had apparently lost all shame. I typed, I have work. His reply popped up immediately. Liar. 10 minutes later, I was putting on jeans. I hated him a little for that. When I got to the bar, our group had already taken over a long table near the back. Marissa waved me over. Brandon was there too, unfortunately, along with a few people from college I only saw when someone turned older or got engaged. Noah sat at the end, one chair open beside him like he had saved it without making a big deal out of it. His eyes moved over me when I walked up. Not obvious, just quick enough to notice I was not wearing his hoodie. You made it. I slid into the seat beside him. Barely. Proud of you. Do not make that sound sincere. It is weird. His smile came easy, but it faded when our knees touched under the table. Neither of us moved. Again, across from us, Marissa narrowed her eyes. I should have known right then. Marissa saw everything. The first few rounds were normal. Movie quotes. State capitals. Noah got weirdly competitive over a question about 90s sitcoms and called Brandon a walking public school budget cut when he guessed wrong. I laughed too hard, and Noah looked pleased in a way that made my stomach do something stupid. Then came the music round. The bar played some old love song, and Brandon groaned. This is such a couple song. Marissa, already 2 margaritas in, pointed her pen at me and Noah. You two should know it, then. I froze. Noah did not. He leaned back, casual. Because we are old? Because you are basically married. The whole table laughed. Heat climbed up my neck. We are not. It came out too fast. Too sharp. Noah's smile flickered. Just once. Marissa blinked like she had stepped on something without meaning to. I was kidding. I know. I grabbed my drink, then put it back down without drinking it. I know. I just mean we are friends. Noah looked at the trivia sheet. His jaw moved slightly, like he was biting back a sentence. Brandon made it worse, because of course he did. Hey, after that rooftop thing, I thought maybe there was something going on. My pulse spiked. There is not. Noah's pen stopped moving. The table got quieter. Not silent. Just quieter in the way people get when they realize a joke has teeth. Marissa looked between us. Ethan, relax. That word hit wrong. Relax. Like I was making it weird. Like I was the one who had invented the tension sitting between me and Noah for weeks. I forced a laugh that sounded nothing like me. I am relaxed. Noah stood suddenly. I am getting another drink. His voice was calm. Too calm. He left before anyone could answer. I watched him walk to the bar, shoulders straight, head slightly lowered. My stomach twisted. Marissa leaned closer. Okay, what was that? Nothing. That was not nothing. I stared at the trivia sheet. The letters blurred. Can everyone stop trying to turn us into something? Her face softened. Is that what you think we are doing? I did not answer. Because the truth was worse. They were not turning us into anything. They were noticing what I had been trying not to name. At the bar, a guy in a leather jacket said something to Noah. Noah glanced over, polite but distant. The guy smiled, touched Noah's arm lightly. My chest tightened so fast I almost laughed at myself. I had no right. None. Noah was single. Noah was gay. Noah could flirt with whoever he wanted. He could go home with someone who was not terrified of being loved. Someone who did not flinch every time feelings got too close. Noah looked back at our table. Our eyes met. For a second, I thought he would come back. Instead, he turned toward the bartender. The guy beside him leaned in again, still smiling. I picked up my phone just to have something to do with my hands. Daniel's name was not on the screen. No new messages. Nothing pulling me backward. So why did I still feel trapped? Noah came back a minute later with water, not a drink. He set one glass in front of me without looking at me. You look like you needed it. That small kindness made everything worse. Noah, it is fine. He sat down, leaving a little more space between us this time. Just enough for me to feel it. Just enough for everyone to pretend not to notice. The next trivia question started. People went back to laughing. The world kept moving like I had not just shoved away the one person who kept showing up. Under the table, his knee no longer touched mine. And somehow that hurt more than if he had said something. Noah did not text me after trivia night. Not that night. Not the next morning. Not even on Sunday, which was when he usually showed up with coffee and pretended he was not checking whether I had turned into a houseplant. I told myself it was fine. People got busy. People had lives. People did not have to keep proving they cared just because I had gotten used to it. By Sunday afternoon, I had cleaned my kitchen, answered 3 client emails, reorganized my sock drawer for reasons that felt medically concerning, and stared at my phone every 7 minutes like a man waiting for bad news. At 4, I broke first. I typed, "Are you alive?" Then deleted it. Too needy. I typed. Did you leave your charger here? Deleted that too. Pathetic and false. Finally, I sent you okay? 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Then nothing. My stomach sank. An hour later, there was a knock at my door. Not the key in the lock. A knock. Somehow that was worse. I opened it, and Noah stood there holding 2 coffees, rain darkening the shoulders of his jacket. He looked tired. Not messy. Noah never looked fully messy. Just quieter than usual, like he had spent the whole day arguing with himself and lost. You knocked. It was the first stupid thing out of my mouth. His mouth twitched, but barely. Seemed safer. That landed right in my chest. I stepped aside. He came in, set the coffees on the counter, and did not take off his jacket. Another bad sign. We stood in the kitchen with too much space between us. The heater rattled. A car passed outside, tires hissing on wet pavement. I hated how formal it felt. Like we were 2 people who used to know how to be easy. About Friday, I started. Noah looked down at the coffee lids. You do not have to explain. I think I do. Ethan. Just my name, soft and tired. I get it. That made me feel worse. No, you do not. He finally looked at me. You panicked because people noticed. You said we were just friends because that felt safer. Then I got embarrassed like an idiot because apparently I forgot we were only joking. His voice stayed calm, but his eyes gave him away. Hurt. Frustrated. Careful. My throat tightened. Were we? Noah went still. Were we what? I hated myself for asking it. I hated that I needed the answer more than air. Only joking. The kitchen went silent. Noah's hand tightened around the edge of the counter. For a second, he looked away like the wall had suddenly become interesting. Then he laughed once under his breath. Not happy. Not amused. More like he could not believe we had finally reached the place we had both been circling. No, my pulse jumped. No. He rubbed a hand over his face, then dropped it. No, Ethan. I was not joking at the rooftop. The room tilted a little. I gripped the back of a chair to keep my hands from doing something stupid. When you told Brandon this was a date. Noah nodded once. It felt real to me. There it was. Simple. Quiet. Completely devastating. My chest tightened so hard it almost hurt. Noah, do not do that. His voice cracked just enough to stop me. He swallowed and looked down. Do not say my name like you are about to apologize for something I chose to feel. I had no idea what to do with that. Noah stepped closer, but not too close. Still giving me room. Always giving me room. I know you were scared. I know Daniel messed with your head. I know every time something starts feeling good, you start looking for the exit. His eyes lifted to mine. But Friday hurt. I flinched. He saw it. Of course he did. His face softened, and somehow that made it worse. Not because you are not ready. I can handle not ready. He let out a slow breath. It hurt because for a second, it felt like being close to me was something you needed to correct in public. I closed my eyes. That is not what I meant. I know. No, I really did not mean that. I know, he repeated quieter. But it still felt that way. I opened my eyes, and he was right there, close enough now that I could see rain caught in his hair. My fingers twitched at my side. I wanted to touch him, to fix it, to take back the way his knee had moved away from mine under that table. Instead, I stood there like a coward in my own kitchen. Noah gave a small, sad smile. The stupid part is, I do not want to go back to normal. My heart stumbled. You do not. He shook his head. Normal was me pretending I did not memorize your coffee order because I liked you. Normal was you wearing my hoodie and acting like it meant nothing. Normal was me leaving every time I wanted to stay. The air changed. My breath caught. Noah noticed, but this time he did not look away. So no, he murmured. I do not want normal back. My phone buzzed on the counter. Both of us looked. Daniel's name lit up the screen. Again. For once, my body did not move toward it. Noah looked at the phone, then at me. No challenge. No demand. Just waiting. My hand shook a little when I picked it up. I did not answer. I blocked the number. Noah's eyes widened slightly, like he had not expected it. Honestly, neither had I. The silence after felt different. Less like fear. More like the second before a door opens. I set the phone down and looked at him. I do not know how to do this without messing it up. Noah's voice dropped. Then do not promise me perfect. He took one careful step closer. Just do not lie to me. My chest hurt. My eyes burned, but I refused to make it dramatic. I was jealous Friday. His expression changed. Barely, but I saw it. Of the guy at the bar? I nodded, embarrassed enough to stare at the floor. Which is insane, because I had no right to be. Noah was quiet so long I had to look up. He was watching me with something soft and stunned on his face. "Ethan," he murmured, "I wanted you to have the right." I stopped breathing. He did not touch me. He did not have to. That sentence crossed the room by itself. And for the first time, I could not pretend I was the only one falling. For about 10 seconds after Noah said that, neither of us moved. "I wanted you to have the right." That sentence stayed in the kitchen like steam from coffee, quiet and impossible to ignore. I should have said something brave. I should have stepped closer, touched his hand, told him I wanted that too. Instead, I laughed. Not because it was funny, because my body panicked and picked the worst available option. Noah's face changed. Just a little. But I saw it. The softness pulled back, and something guarded took its place. "Sorry," I said quickly. "That came out wrong." He looked at the floor, nodding once like he was trying to convince himself it was fine. "No, it is okay." It was not okay. I knew it. He knew it. Even the stupid coffee cups on the counter knew it. "Noah. Really, Ethan. It is fine." He picked up his coffee, even though he had not touched it once. His hands were steady. That somehow made it worse. "I should probably go." My stomach dropped. "You just got here." "Yeah." He gave me a small smile that did not reach anywhere real. I also maybe said too much. "You did not. Your laugh said otherwise." That hit hard because I deserved it. I stepped forward, then stopped. Too close felt dangerous. Too far felt cruel. I was nervous. Noah's eyes lifted to mine. "I know. Then why are you leaving?" For a second, something raw crossed his face. Tired. Honest. Almost angry, but not at me exactly. Because I cannot keep standing in rooms where I tell you the truth and then pretend it did not happen. My throat went tight. "I am not asking you to pretend." "No." He looked around my kitchen, at the takeout menus on the fridge, the extra mug he always used, the second chair he always claimed like it belonged to him. Because it kind of feels like that is the deal. I get close. You panic. I back off. Then next Sunday, I show up with coffee, and we act like nothing happened. I hated how accurately he described us. I hated that routine, the thing that had saved me, had also turned into a place for both of us to hide. "I do not want to lose you." The words came out small. Too small. Noah's shoulders dropped, and for a second I thought he might come back toward me. He did not. "I know." His voice softened, which somehow hurt more than if he had snapped. "But I am already starting to feel like I am losing myself a little." I stared at him. Rain tapped against the window behind me. The heater kicked on with that ugly rattle, filling the silence with something easier than breathing. Noah rubbed the back of his neck. "Look, I am not mad at you for being scared. I get scared too." That surprised me. Noah rarely admitted things like that. He was the steady one. The one with jokes and coffee and emergency chargers. Seeing him look unsure made something twist behind my ribs. "You do?" He gave a quiet laugh. "Ethan, I am crazy about my best friend, who still looks at love like it is a car accident he survived. Yeah, I get scared." My eyes burned. I looked down fast. "That is not fair." "I know." He swallowed. "That is why I am leaving before I say something worse." He moved toward the door, and for once I did not know how to stop him. My brain screamed at me to fix it, but my body stayed frozen because the truth was terrifying. If I asked him to stay, I was choosing something. Not officially, not with a label, but enough. Enough to change us. Enough to make the friendship real in a different way. And what if I ruined it? What if I let him in and became too much? What if one day he looked at me the way Daniel had, like I was a problem he was tired of solving? Noah opened the door. Cold hallway air slipped in. He paused without turning around. "For what it is worth," he murmured. I did not regret saying it. My chest tightened. "Then why does it feel like you do?" He finally looked back. His eyes were soft, but hurt sat underneath them. "Because you looked relieved when I stepped away." I went completely still. I was not relieved. Noah watched me for a second, like he wanted to believe that more than anything. "Okay." One word. Quiet. Not convinced. Then he left. The door closed gently, and that was almost worse than a slam. I stood there in the kitchen with 2 untouched coffees and the exact kind of silence I used to think I wanted. My phone stayed dead quiet. Daniel was blocked. No old life pulling me backward. No excuse. Just me, the empty doorway, and the sick realization that Noah had not misunderstood everything. He had only misunderstood the worst part. I had not been relieved when he stepped away. I had been scared that if he came any closer, I would never want him to leave. I lasted 2 days before I broke. 2 full days of pretending I was giving Noah space, when really I was just standing in the middle of my apartment listening to every sound that was not his key in my door. By Tuesday night, I had written and deleted the same text so many times my phone started feeling judgmental. I miss you. Too much. Can we talk? Too plain. I am sorry I laughed when you handed me your entire heart in my kitchen. Too honest. Finally, I grabbed my jacket, shoved my feet into sneakers, and walked the 6 blocks to his apartment before I could talk myself out of it. Chicago was cold in that annoying spring way where the wind acted personal. By the time I got to his building, my hands were numb and my chest felt worse. Noah buzzed me in without saying anything. That scared me more than if he had sounded mad. His apartment looked the same as always. Shoes by the door, dishes in the sink. A half-dead plant by the window he kept insisting was in recovery. Noah stood near the kitchen counter in sweatpants and a gray t-shirt, arms folded, hair damp like he had just showered. He did not smile. Hey. My voice came out rough. Hey. Silence. Not comfortable. Not safe. Just the kind where both people know one wrong word could make everything worse. I stepped inside but stayed near the door, like some part of me still wanted an escape route. Noah noticed. His eyes flicked down to my shoes, then back to my face. You can sit down. I shook my head. I need to say it standing up, or I will lose my nerve. Something moved across his face. Not a smile. Almost. Okay. I took a breath. It did not help. I was not relieved when you stepped away. Noah's arms loosened a little. Ethan. No, let me say it. My hand tightened around my jacket sleeve. Please. He went quiet. Waiting. Careful, even now. That almost undid me. I laughed because I panicked. Not because what you said was funny. Not because I did not want it. My throat tightened on the last word, but I forced myself to keep going. I wanted it too much. That was the problem. Noah stared at me, completely still. The refrigerator hummed behind him. Somewhere upstairs, someone dropped something heavy, then cursed. Normal apartment noises. Meanwhile, my entire life was trying to change in his kitchen. You looked like you regretted it, I admitted. When you left. His jaw flexed. I thought you did. I did not. You have a weird way of showing that. It should have sounded harsh. It did not. It sounded tired. Fair. I nodded because I deserved that. I know. Noah rubbed both hands over his face, then let them fall. I cannot keep guessing with you. I know. No, I mean it. His voice stayed low, but firmer now. I can handle slow. I can handle scared. I can even handle messy. His eyes found mine. But I cannot be your maybe forever. That hit exactly where it was supposed to. My stomach dropped. You are not. Then what am I? The question landed between us. Simple. Too simple to hide from. I looked at him, really looked at him. At the way he stood like he was bracing for me to dodge again. At the mug on the counter, the one I always used when I came over. At the navy hoodie hanging over the chair, the one that matched the one still folded on my couch at home. All these pieces of us, sitting out in the open, while I kept acting like naming them was the dangerous part. You are my best friend, I started. Noah looked down. Yeah, I know. And I am scared of losing that. He swallowed, but did not interrupt. But I think I have been using that as an excuse. My voice dropped. Because the truth is, you already feel like more than that. Noah's eyes lifted slowly. My pulse went stupid. And I know I am not healed in some perfect way. I know I might freeze up. I know I might say the wrong thing because my brain still thinks love is something I have to survive. I took one step closer. Not much. Enough. But when you left Sunday, it did not feel safe. It felt wrong. Noah's hands rested on the edge of the counter. His fingers curled once, like he was stopping himself from reaching for me. Ethan, I do not want normal back either. There. Out. Real. The room seemed to hold its breath. Noah looked away for a second, blinking fast, then let out a quiet laugh that sounded almost broken. You could have led with that. I laughed too, shaky and embarrassed. I told you. I am terrible at this. Yeah. He nodded, eyes coming back to mine. Softer now. Still hurt, but open. You are. I took another step. I do not want to be your maybe. His face changed. Barely. Enough to make my chest ache. Then what do you want? My hand lifted before I had fully decided. I stopped halfway, giving him time to move back. He did not. So I reached for him. Not dramatic. Just my fingers touching his wrist, light at first, then holding on. Noah looked down at my hand like it was a sentence he had been waiting months to read. I want to try, I whispered. His thumb brushed over my knuckles once. Slow. Careful. With me? I looked at him. No joke. No exit. No Daniel in my head. Just Noah, close enough to hurt me, close enough to stay. Only with you. For a second, neither of us moved. Then Noah stepped closer, and this time, I did not laugh. I did not back away. I just held on while the space between us finally stopped pretending it was empty. Noah did not kiss me right away. I think part of me expected something cinematic after all that tension. Some dramatic rush across the kitchen. Music swelling from nowhere. A perfect line neither of us would ever say in real life. But Noah just stood there, looking at my hand around his wrist like he was afraid one wrong move would scare me off. Then he turned his hand slowly until his palm met mine. His fingers slid between mine. Careful. Warm. Real. I looked down at our hands and let out a breath I did not know I was holding. You okay? His voice was quiet. I nodded, then shook my head a little because lying felt stupid now. I am terrified. Noah's thumb moved over my knuckle. Once. Twice. Me too. That surprised me enough to look up. You are. Ethan. I just spent weeks falling for my emotionally constipated best friend. His mouth curved, soft and tired. Yeah. I am a little terrified. I laughed, and this time it did not ruin anything. This time, Noah smiled like the sound meant something good. We stood there in his kitchen for a long moment, holding hands like two idiots who had discovered a very basic human activity and somehow made it complicated. Eventually, he tugged me toward the couch. Not far, just enough to say stay without saying it. So I stayed. We did not figure everything out that night. That feels important to say. There was no clean speech where I suddenly became fearless. No magical moment where every old scar disappeared because Noah held my hand. I was still me, still nervous, still carrying things I did not want to hand to someone else too quickly. But Noah did not ask for everything at once. He made tea because it was late and because he was Noah. He gave me the chipped mug I always used. We sat on his couch with our shoulders touching, both pretending to watch some late-night cooking show where a woman got way too emotional about risotto. At some point, my hand found his again between us. Or his found mine. I do not remember. I just remember neither of us pulling away. So what happens now? I stared at the television because looking at him felt too big. Noah glanced over. Now. Yeah. My throat went tight. Do we tell people? Do we not tell people? Do we go on a date? Do we make this weird? Do I make this weird? He squeezed my hand gently. You are absolutely going to make this weird. I groaned. Helpful. But I like you weird. That got me quiet. Noah's smile faded into something softer. We do not have to announce anything tomorrow. We do not have to rush. But I am not going back to pretending I do not want to sit next to you. My chest ached in the best way. I can do that. Sit next to me? Not pretend. He looked at me for a second, then leaned his head back against the couch like he was trying not to smile too hard. Good. The next Sunday, he came over like always. 11 in the morning. 2 iced coffees. Bakery bag. Key in the lock. Only this time, when he stepped inside, I did not act casual from across the room. Morning, emotionally unavailable citizen, he murmured. I took 1 coffee from him. Morning, unpaid therapist. His eyes dropped to my hand when I reached for his. I did it before I could overthink it. Fingers around his. Light but clear. Noah looked up at me, and the whole apartment seemed to change shape around that one small touch. Same kitchen. Same couch. Same pile of laundry I had still not folded. But not the same. Not anymore. Later that afternoon, Marissa invited everyone to lunch. I almost said no out of habit. Noah saw my thumb hovering over the screen. He did not push. He just sat beside me, knee against mine, waiting. I typed, we will be there. Then I looked at him. Is that okay? Noah smiled slowly. We. My face went hot. Do not make it a thing. It is kind of a thing. Noah. He laughed, but when we walked into the diner an hour later, he did not drop my hand. Neither did I. Brandon noticed first, because of course he did. His eyebrows shot up. Marissa saw right after, and her smile went soft instead of loud. No one made a big speech. No one clapped. Thank God. Noah just slid into the booth beside me, close enough that our shoulders touched, and ordered waffle fries for the table like it was any other Sunday. My heart was pounding, but I was still there. His hand rested on the seat between us, palm up. A quiet choice. I took it under the table. Another quiet choice. Looking back, That was when I understood it. Love did not have to be a car crash. It did not have to leave me standing in the wreckage, pretending I was fine. Sometimes love looked like coffee at 11, a saved seat in a crowded diner, a thumb brushing your hand under the table where no one else could see. Sometimes it was not about never being scared again. It was about finding someone who stayed close while you learned not to run. I had sworn I would never love again. And maybe, at the time, I meant it. But Noah never asked me to break that promise all at once. He just kept showing up, until one day, I wanted to show up too.